You know what that is, don't you? Porsche 911. Now, I think we'll take it outside. It's PK here, out of the box. Let's go outside, because it's such a beautiful day. Get the Diet Coke. I think you know that I'm a big Diet Coke drinker. They say it's bad, but it works for me. I love the caffeine in it. Well, here we are. One moment. Let's just get this thing set up. Okay, perfectly. How's it looking out here? Let's see how Florida. The microphone. One moment. Okay, here we are. Welcome, you guys. PK here with Out of the Box. And what are we going to talk about? I'm not a car channel, but I want to mention, what is the best high-performance sports car? Let me give you a little background. I drove a Porsche 911S when I was 16, back in a long time ago, back in the 70s. And from that moment on, I never felt something like it. I was hooked. And all of us guys, especially, we always have some car we dream to have in the high school. That one day when we have money, we're going to get that car. So this was going on. This went on for a couple of years. After I drove that, I got to drive it a couple of times. A neighbor, a girl, her father let me take out the car. I couldn't believe it. I mean, what a guy. Of course, everything was manual transmission, stick shift. There wasn't such thing as an automatic Porsche back then. Then when I was around 19, I became friends with a person who worked for my father, who really was a big Ferrari fan, and he ended up buying a Ferrari a year later and told me, said, look, Porsche, having a Porsche, this is for the girls. A real car, a real high-performance sports car is a Ferrari, and this is what you got to have. And again, so I'm 19 years old, he let me take it out, and I thought, this is the car. Forget a Porsche. Got into the trading, 22, made my first money, good money. What was the first thing I bought? Of course, it's a car. And what did I buy? I bought a Ferrari. 23 years old with a Ferrari in LA. And remember, at this time, this is in the early 80s, nobody had this. Nobody displayed their money under 30. The parents didn't give the money. There weren't these tech billionaires. This whole thing didn't exist. Nobody had these high-performance cars, a Ferrari or Porsche or any of the things that we see. I mean, the best car you would see a young person would drive would be a BMW. So anyway, I thought this is what I ended up having two Ferraris during my trading years, up and down. Sold the Ferrari in the late 80s, and then, believe it or not, many years went by. I didn't care about cars anymore. And then 3 years ago, 2018, here in Florida, after moving back from Europe, what did I buy? I bought a Porsche Carrera 911S, used 2015, of course, manual transmission. And let me tell you, it really was great. It brought back the memories from the high school. Some would say it's midlife crisis, but as I mentioned before, when you love something, you're going to love it forever. You just don't get sick of it. So anyway, let me just talk about the three big cars in high-performance sports cars. I'm talking about being a daily driver, not a track, not a professional race car driver. What do we see? What are the three big cars? Of course, we got a Porsche. And for me, a Porsche is always a 911. Some version of a 911. The other Porsches, forget about. Of course, we have Ferrari. We all know Italian Ferrari with their reputation. And was come onto the scene probably maybe in the last 10 years, became very trendy, even though they had this when I was growing up, but they were much more rare. Lamborghini. So there's the three big cars. And you ask me, well, what is the difference? I would say, the reason is, why a Porsche? What is it about a Porsche that I love? And I'm telling you, first of all, it's got to be manual transmission, stick shift. This automatic, if you'd asked me 20 years ago or 20, if they would ever make an automatic Porsche with PDK and automatic transmission, I would have bet my life against it. Never happened. It shows you. Same with Ferrari, all these cars. Now they have this automatic transmission, which for me kills the whole experience of driving. It's your grandmother can drive the car. They're so easy to drive now. Maybe this is the reason. No, they're very popular because here in America, we grew up with automatic cars. In Europe, everyone learns how to drive on a manual stick shift. So, for me, you're one with the car. I can't feel the car unless I'm shifting those gears, and you feel it. And so, the difference between having a Porsche versus a Ferrari and a Lamborghini is the following. If you're a person that loves to go through the turns and windy roads and really feel the power coming into the turn, and takes a lot of technique, nothing can touch that Porsche, that 911 rear engine car, especially in manual. They just keep improving this car, even the new ones. I've driven the new one, the PDK. It's just, forget about it. I can't even imagine. Even if I wanted to have a Ferrari or Lamborghini, I could never. I don't think they make a manual transmission anymore. You have to buy an old one. Yes, we know they're much faster, but as I said, a Ferrari and a Lamborghini, these are for people more like, I would say, adrenaline junkies. I'm not talking about impressing your girl or your friends and pulling up at the restaurant, the valet parking, or things like that, or showing up and, oh, wow, look at that car, this exotic car. It's about the driving experience. So for me, when I had a Ferrari, these things, they're great for going for more on a straight line, or real long sweeping turns. And the same with the Lamborghini. But the minute you get into any windy road, a Porsche will take those cars every time. You can't beat that rear engine. That it just takes the turn better than anything. So if you're into turning, and plus there's a thrill, there's a skill to it. How much skill do you just have? Maybe you have to have some guts to put your pedal on the metal in that Ferrari or Lamborghini and go fast on the freeway, straight line, or some back road that's going straight forever. I find it for me, it's not a thrilling experience. So I think that's the big difference. If you're into going fast and mainly in a straight line, go ahead, buy a Ferrari, buy a Lamborghini. But if you're somebody really into driving and feeling the turns, and again, if you want to feel one with the car, gotta buy a stick shift manual transmission in a Porsche. Once you go automatic with this PDK, it's so easy to drive, but it takes the experience away. It's like you just can't feel it anymore. It's faster. Of course, it's quicker than the stick shift. That's why everyone has, even with the paddle shifting, it doesn't feel the same when you're just not engaged with the car. So I mentioned about the turns. Why a Porsche? But turns, their engine, it's got to be manual. Anyway, so this is my take for driving. Part of the wild out-of-the-box lifestyle. I want to feel the things. And the problem is now today, everything's become, the technology has come so far, everything is so easy. You know, as I mentioned, you don't need any skill to drive a 911 Turbo S Porsche or a top-of-the-line Ferrari or Lamborghini. All these cars, they're so easy to drive. They really drive themselves. It's just about how fast you want to go. I'd also like to comment quickly on what are the cars that I don't like, that I think suck. You see them? And I'm talking about as a driver. And as you know, I'm a big fan. I think German cars are all the best cars. They have the best suspension. Porsche, Mercedes, BMW. Yes, the Italian cars have the style. But I still am number one on the German suspension. Nothing like these cars, whatever you're into. So the cars, for me, I want to put them that suck. One, anything made in the UK. They might look great. Some people love this Aston Martin. They want to be like James Bond. Jaguar. Anything, even a McLaren, which I believe has British roots in it. They're not for me. They don't make any impression. They break down. I don't like the style. It's just, UK is not known for cars. You want a car, at least Germany, a German car or an Italian car. And then let's talk about, what about our American cars? We know there's a lot of fans, the U.S. muscle cars, been around forever. Can they go fast? Of course. I see these Corvettes, which I hate a Corvette. Dollar for dollar, they're always comparing Corvettes with Porsche or anything else because they have the speed, but they look, in my opinion, of course, it's all subjective, no style, no handling, no feel. You want to go fast, 200 miles in a straight line? Go ahead, buy yourself a Corvette and save money, but this is not a car. When I see someone on the street, when I'm out there driving around, and I see somebody in a muscle car, I don't care how fast they can go, what type of torque, they can soup up these cars. It tells me it's not a real driver. The real driver drives a German or an Italian car. And that's really pretty much all I want to say. So, anyway, I wanted to tell you guys what I think about cars because it's part of who I am. I love the driving experience. It just feels great. You put your music in, fire up the cigarette I have here. You know, I still smoke these cigarettes. It's just great. And again, when you make, I'll say this again, relating back to the trading. If you're lucky enough or have the skill and you have a good month, a good quarter, please go out and buy something. For me, I'm waiting for the new Porsche. I sold my Porsche a year and a half ago. It had some engine problem, but the price keep going up, and they've become very expensive now for what it is. But I'm waiting, and then of course the pandemic. I have to order it coming from Germany. It's going to take time, but so be it. And it's going to be, of course, manual. I strongly recommend you, if you're a driver, to compare both. If you have a chance to drive a manual transmission or automatic, believe me, you're going to feel the difference. Anyway, this PK here with Out of the Box. We'll talk to you another day. Ciao, you guys.